Good morning and welcome to another installment of the SCSA's Toolbox Tuesday series. My name is Bill Gessell and I'm an advisor here from the Saskatoon office. Today I kind of try to bring a little bit of a timely message for everybody. I want to talk a little bit about the safety that you bring home, the activities that you conduct while you're at home, similar to those that you conduct while you're at work. But sometimes we forget that the same controls can be put into place while we're working around the house as we would be while we were on the job site. So without too much further, I'm going to switch into a PowerPoint here and we're going to have a little bit of a discussion. So as we said, I had a little bit of a discussion today about taking safety home for the holidays. In the research for this Toolbox Talk topic that I put forward together today, I found out a lot about the injuries that happen at home and the severity of those injuries. So just wanted to talk a little bit about a few common situations that we encounter while we are during this holiday season, working around the house. We're preparing for the holidays, and we're going to see about some of the hazards and some of the controls for those. So as it says, safety begins at home. So we are always trying to think that safety begins the second you get up in the morning. As you're already starting, your brain should already be working, thinking about what am I doing and how can I prevent accidents and injuries both at home and at work. A little bit of the research that I did for this Toolbox Talk came across that nearly 10,000 Canadians every year are injured from falling. And this information came from the Institute of Health Information. It also talked about the winter months. So nearly 9,000 hospitalizations every year are due to falls on ice throughout Canada. So we know ice is slippery, but a lot of us kind of take slippery sidewalks and such for granted, as that, eventually they'll melt or eventually they'll thaw. So a lot of this you see, whether it's in front of your home, the sidewalk leading from your front door, that sidewalk that goes out to the back that you take your garbage out in, or otherwise often gets packed in or compacted with snow. Now, with the changing in temperatures, especially today, we have some milder temperatures coming in. That's going to lead to a fair bit of this ice pack that is currently on the sidewalks melting and then freezing and then turning to, as you see here in the illustration, a solid sheet of ice. And that's actually a picture last year from a Saskatchewan city where they were talking about the hazards of slippery sidewalks. Now, most of you have probably encountered a fall on a sidewalk, whether it's your own or coming into a place of business or otherwise. On the job site, we would take measures to prevent this. We would be throwing gravel down. We would be completing ice melt, putting other scenarios into place to try to prevent workers from falling on the job site. But at home, a lot of people's sidewalks look just as the one is seen in the top illustration. Now, in all of these scenarios, I included a little bit of the hierarchy of controls in the upper corner, because as much as this applies to the workplace, this also applies to the activities that you conduct, like I said, around the house. The elimination scenarios, substitution, possible engineering controls, administrative controls, and then finally using our PPE. As with the hierarchy at the work site, we want to try to eliminate those hazards other than resorting to PPE. So again, looking at some of the different control strategies based off that hierarchy, some simple strategies would be the prevention of the ice buildup, or if it does get built up, to use ice melt. I always look at elimination out of myself. I spend a lot of time cleaning my sidewalks at home. My sidewalks are shoveled quite quickly after a snowfall. You don't want to have a buildup of snow. It makes it much more difficult to remove the slippery situation after that. So I shovel, and then I am the crazy guy that gets out with the corn broom and sweeps my sidewalk off completely. By doing so, I never have to resort to performing a meltdown with ice melt or otherwise, and I keep a nice, clean, safe sidewalk for both my family and for other pedestrians coming past. So again, as it shows here, there are a couple of other control strategies, using the ice melt to remove that buildup if you didn't get to it in enough time, shoveling and keeping them clear shortly after a snowfall, preferably before people start packing it down. And then some of the administrative controls, if you do have a sidewalk that is icy, either due to melting or runoff or whatnot throughout the spring seasons, having some proper signage so that people, yourself and others walking through that area can see that there is a potential hazard there. If all of those situations don't come into place. There is the, as you see here, the traction aids that are attached to the bottom of the boots that can help prevent slipping and sliding on those slippery surfaces. Another one is stairs. As much as the sidewalks become incredibly slippery, of course, the stairs themselves as well too. These stairs that you see on your home, coming out of your back steps onto your deck, again, down into the back alley or otherwise, are no different than the stairs on your job site. You would never let the stairs on the workplace become packed with ice or with snow, but at home it seems to be an accepted practice. We'll just keep stomping it down. Eventually it'll melt off. Using those same control strategies, again, we're looking at the elimination, the engineering controls on this one come into place, and again, the PPE. Some of the scenarios we have for these are traction aids. You can see here in the illustration, somebody placing down some gripping surfaces to prevent slipping and sliding on the stairs. And then as simple as the one on the one side just showing keeping them clean, keeping them swept, staying ahead of it. If you get to a point where you have a set of stairs that builds up heavily with ice or otherwise, there are, as seen on the right-hand side, heated stair pads that you can put into place, another engineering control to try to keep a nice, dry, slip-free surface on those stairs, and of course, handrails. So as you're using the set of stairs, a proper set of handrails will help prevent those slip and fall accidents. And then if you can't, or if there is a set of stairs that does become heavily plugged with ice over a number of period of time, the installation of your administrative controls, which would be some proper signage, just alerting people that these stairs are slippery, you haven't installed your control strategies yet or otherwise. One thing that came into play, especially this year, is the buildup of snow on rooftops, which then leads to ice jams. Just as of the weekend, I prevented my 80-year-old neighbor down the street from climbing on top of his ratchety old wooden step ladder to try to knock the ice jam or ice dam off the edge of his roof. A lot of people don't understand that, again, on a job site, we would always be looking for those areas where a potential of a 3-meter fall exists and putting in the proper control strategies, the fall protection system, whether that be guardrails or PPE or otherwise. But at home, surprisingly enough, we don't seem to put the same emphasis on safety as we should. Now, as I stopped my neighbor from climbing on top of his ladder to knock off these icicles in this large ice dam that had built up, I told him I'd be right back. And I went home, and I, a few years ago, had purchased one of the extendable roof rakes to facilitate the removal of snow and ice jam while standing on the ground. So providing a bit of a elimination strategy. So these work quite well. They keep your feet on the ground. You don't have to put yourself at heights to remove those type of scenarios. If you get to the point where those, if you want to try to prevent them from happening completely and eliminate them all in all, there are equipment out there, such as seen in the other illustration here, the other picture, which is the edge melting systems. Now they can be installed and they prevent ice buildup as well, keeping your edge of your roof free from the potential damage of ice jams. One thing to think about too is while you are trying to climb onto your roof and otherwise and work and knock those ice jams off, is it's not just the working from a ladder, it's also the material that's falling as you are shoveling if you are working from that ladder or otherwise. So can knock you off the ladder and into the surface below, whether it's your icy sidewalk, proper setup. And again, a lot of homeowners do not have a proper ladder. So on a job site, you would never climb to the top of a step ladder and stand on the top to access a working platform. But at home, most homeowners have an 8-foot step ladder, and that seems to be the means of access to the rooftop when they need to go up and clear frozen vents or otherwise. This one, for me, is easy. I eliminate the whole situation by not installing Christmas lights. You could call me a bit of a Grinch, but I don't like the idea of climbing around on my roof while it is frozen, trying to install Christmas lights. Now, when I did the little bit of looking into it on this, it was initially I thought, oh, just like the Griswold's family Christmas, you fall off into a pile of snow and hang from the side of the roof. But sadly, as I was doing the checking on information in regards to Christmas lights, if you just do a simple Google search of Christmas light fatalities, it's page after page after page of people who should either know better, such as contractors who have fallen from their own roofs while installing Christmas lights. A lot of it was, again, the homeowners, as you see here, working off of overextending themselves off of improper ladders, trying to reach those areas. And it was fatality after fatality after serious injury after serious injury. It was surprising how many it actually came up with one simple Google search. There was a little bit of information here that I thought I'd put in. One analysis by the data for the Center for Disease Control and Prevention found that during the holiday season, defined as November 1st to January 31st, there are more than 5,800 fall injuries per season related to holiday decorating. Approximately 43% of them were falls from ladders. So working off of those old, improperly maintained or not proper height for the work being conducted ladders to install Christmas lights, as nice as they are, put a lot of people at risk. That 3-foot fall or 3-meter fall from your roof or from your 6-meter fall from your 2-story roof has the same outcome as it would if you were falling on the job site, where there is the potential for serious injury and fatality. There's a lot of ways that we could prevent this. One is my elimination strategy, which is not to put them up at all. But another method that you see a lot of people now with the use of LED lights, they don't fade and deteriorate in the sun as much as the old incandescent bulbs did. So they can be placed during nice summer seasons when you have a better non-slip surface to place your ladder. You're not working in a cold, slippery environment, and it makes it a lot easier if you install them again before the snow flies. If you do have to install them while the snow flies or while there's snow and ice buildup, the use of ladders with outriggers, having proper stabilization at the base of your ladder and otherwise can prevent those kickouts and falling, and having a proper ladder that, as I said, that 8-foot step ladder does not provide you the appropriate height to be able to get to most eaves on houses. And if you want to look at the personal protective equipment methods, such as the installation of a permanent anchor point system on the roof of your home for those seasonal servicings, whether it is installation of Christmas lights if you choose to do so, or cleaning of vents and other situations, ice jams, those type of things, having a permanent anchor point and the proper equipment to do so, and being trained to use that equipment safely and understanding its limitations can help you perform some of those tasks a lot safer. I just pulled a few more stats out because I thought it was of interest. Right from Stats Canada, in 2017, 35% of all total fall injuries led to deaths. So 4,904 deaths were attributed to falls in 2017. Now, this is falls not only in the workplace, this is falls at home from general public and otherwise. This was total fall data for all of Canada. That equals about 13 fall deaths per day, or nearly 1 fall death every 2 hours in Canada. So this is something that is quite serious that a lot of people, again, put a strong emphasis on in the workplace, but don't take that message home when they go to do some work around the house. And another quick little stat at the bottom, in the 2017-18 season, as well as that number of deaths throughout Canada, but in Saskatchewan only, there were 6,193 fall injuries. And those were injuries where somebody went into the hospital, whether it was a homeowner or otherwise, and the outcome of that injury was a fall, or the outcome of that injury was the cause of that injury, was a fall, whether it was from heights or from a ladder or work surface. As well, I just wanted to thank you for your time watching us today. And remember that you can find this information and more resources at scsaonline.ca. And our previous Toolbox talks that were recorded and saved for you are also available on YouTube and other social media sites. Thank you.